Hey, welcome back to Real Estate Solar Solutions. My name is Rock Thomas, and today I'm going to talk to you about the three different ways that you can purchase a system. And that's really important if you are thinking of purchasing a home that has solar on it, so you know what you could be getting into. And if you are selling a house, you really want to be informed. By the way, if you are thinking of selling a house or you're in the process of selling a house, make sure that you start to gather your papers because your agent is going to want to see the contract of purchase for your solar system. So keep that handy or dig it up if you're thinking of putting your house on the market in the next few months. And you're also going to need a copy of your utility bill. Your agent should ask for that. If your agent doesn't know how to speak solar, you're going to want to make sure that they get informed or that you talk to us so we can refer you an agent that knows how to speak solar. If not, some of the pitfalls that we see is that people end up having to pay off their system or get zero value for their system because their agent doesn't know how to evaluate it. And on another video, I'll talk to you about how to get your system appraised professionally, and therefore you'll feel really comfortable with what you can get in the market today. But let's go back to the three different ways that people acquire a solar system. So the first way and the simplest way is that people want to get rid of their utility bill, and so they purchase a system cash, like I did in my home in Arizona. Just go out and you spend 25, 35, 45, 55, it depends on the size of the system, and you pay cash. And then what happens is that instead of having a utility bill of $500 a month, you now maybe have a bill of $30 a month. And the reason it would be 30 is because there are these fixed expenses that the utility charge you to stay connected to them because they are looking for ways to make money all the time. And so you use them basically as a battery. By the energy that you create during the day, you overproduce, you put it onto the grid, and then at nighttime, you pull back the credits so that you have what we call a net zero home, where you actually have zero cost to the utility company, and they act a little bit like a bank account where you deposit during the day and you withdraw at night. And at the end of the year, you have a net zero home. So that's the first and easiest way. And by the way, when you go to sell your home, if you've paid cash for the system, that's the easiest way to sell it because there's no liens against the panels and there's no financing that has to be, assumed by the purchaser or the prospective client that is going to take over your home. Now, so that's number one, very simple. Number two is you purchased the system, but you didn't want to outlay the cash. So you took a loan against it, maybe with a third party. In some cases, what people do is they use a home equity loan, and therefore that's a little bit easier because they could just pay that off at the time of closing and have a clean transaction with no lien against the panels. When you purchase with a loan and you have a payment, now you're going to sell that property. It's a little bit more complicated. What you need to do is you need to be able to pass on that loan to the prospective purchaser in the form of an assumption. The challenge with that is, what do you think? Well, let's say that you sell your house for $500,000, but you have a $280 payment on your solar system. Yet the purchaser qualified in their debt to income ratio at the maximum at 500. They chose your home because they loved it. And now they have an extra $280 payment to purchase the system. They're not going to qualify financially. And the financial institution says, I'm sorry, you've exceeded your debt to income ratio. You cannot afford this home. So what do? Well, they might come back to you and say, we'll pay the 500, but you've got to pay off the loan against the solar system at signing, and then we'll still buy the house. And we see sellers going, I don't want to do that, but I want to sell my house. I have to sell my house. And therefore, in some cases, they're doing that and they're losing their $25,000 or $35,000 investment. And that personally pisses me off. And this is one of the reasons I created this channel, is because I want to help homeowners get what they deserve. Imagine this. Your home is worth $500,000 and you don't have a utility bill other than $20 or $30, and yet the neighbor has the same home. They didn't put their $30,000 solar system on it, and they have a $300 or a $400 utility bill, and yet both homes sell for the same amount. That doesn't make sense. And what's lacking is the information coming to the homeowner and that information being passed on to the realtor knowing how to package it. And what we're fighting against right now is teaching the appraisers exactly how to appraise the system so that it has value. And on another video, I'll talk about exactly the appraisal process and the fact that there are some green appraisers out there that know how to do it, but they're very, very, very few. And so what we're doing is we're educating the agents to put those people on their team when they represent you in selling your property so that you can get the money back for your investments. Sure, you're going to save money on a month-to-month basis when you buy your system. But let's say that you bought the system and you thought you were going to live in the house forever. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, you got pregnant with triplets and you're like, home's not big enough, right? Or something happened where you got transferred or downsized or what have you, and now you're selling the home 2 or 3 years after you put the solar system in. Yes, you benefited by lower payments. Yes, you love contributing to reducing the carbon emissions on the planet. But now you got to package it properly. And so that's why Real Estate Solar Solutions was created, so that we can help you, the homeowner. And Real Estate Solar Solutions Academy was created to teach agents how to represent you as well. So make sure you have the right agent representing you if you go to sell your property. Now, the third way that people purchase, and this is probably the least popular way, is called a PPA, a power purchase agreement. And essentially what you're doing is you're leasing your roof to a third party, and they're producing the energy, and you're having a net gain in the fact that you're paying less to them than you are, or for the system, than you would be paying to the utility company. And they're producing the energy so that you can have a savings. There are complications with this because you can sometimes pass this on to the next person, sometimes you can't. You can also have less headaches when it comes to, say, managing the system. If something were to happen, let's say in Florida, there's a hurricane or something like that, and the panels are damaged, in a PPA, they take care of the panels for you. So there are some advantages and disadvantages. And again, I'll talk about that in detail on another video. But essentially, you have 3 ways to purchase: cash, a loan, financing, or a lease. And each one of those are very, very different. So if you're the seller, get your paperwork in order. And if you're purchasing, make sure your agent can counsel you on what the system is, what the advantages are and disadvantages. And if not, rifle through the titles of the videos on this channel and get yourself informed, or call one of our solar specialists so we can help you. Make sure to like and subscribe so you get all the current data. And by the way, in this industry, things are changing all the time. There's over 4,000 utility companies across the country, and each one of them is jockeying for position on how to change their terms and agreements with the homeowners so that they can make as much money as possible and resist this, initiative to go solar. And so we stay current with all those changes. And that's not something you can expect necessarily your agent to do or for yourself to have to do. You don't want to do that. But make sure that if you're going to get into a transaction, that you talk to one of our specialists so we can inform you and get you up to date so you can have a smooth and clean